Welcome to the Golden Hour Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Mays, and today our guest is Sorelle Amore. Sorelle is one of the fastest growing influencers in the photography, how-to, travel, and human optimization industry. One of her most standout skill sets is the art of advanced selfie taking. Now, this is no Kim Kardashian selfie. This is a totally unique art form, and it's something that she teaches to her followers. Sorelle is really a quadruple threat, being an incredible photographer, model, filmmaker, and teacher. Not to mention she's a blast to hang out with, and I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and I know you will too. Our interview began with Sorelle schooling me on what an advanced selfie actually is. Advanced Selfie Queen. We were just talking about it a little bit.
Yes.
Can we kind of fill in anybody who maybe isn't familiar with your work? What the heck is Advanced Selfie Queen? Tell me about that.
Thank you very much for giving me that opportunity. Because at first, whenever I tell people about advanced selfies, they roll their eyes immediately. And they're like, oh, the vain people of the Instagram. But what it is basically teaching people how to take a good photograph of yourself in a way that doesn't look like you took it. So you're doing it with a remote trigger and far away from the camera, and getting your best angles, best face angles, your best body angles, and then telling a story through the photograph using emotions as well. So telling a full story, not just, I don't like to do just prettiness, like here's a fake smile. And the reason I teach people to do this is because for myself as well, personally, I was kind of sick and tired of seeing really good photos of models and then seeing my photo and being like, dang, I'm ugly. Like, I really wish that I wasn't. And so I just started taking photos of myself. Also, when I was traveling, I wanted to take photos, and I was solo traveling. And no one was there to take my photos, so I took my own photos, and it made me feel really good about myself, and I was creating art all by myself without anyone's assistance. And I started feeling good about myself. And because
it was a real camera and it looked good.
Yeah, and it looked great. Yeah, and I was like, whoa, so if I have a really good photo of myself, that means I'm comparing myself with that photo to a magazine-worthy photo, and that's like a level playing field. But like a crappy photo on like a selfie versus on my phone versus like a high fashion model's photo shoot, that's not fair. So I'd rather compare and just be like, okay, maybe I'm not a supermodel, but I'm not that bad. Like, I'm okay. And I want to teach people that they can create their own art by themselves, and then they can feel good about themselves as well. And that's huge feedback. This was definitely an accident. Like, I started taking these self-portraits, and then I went a little bit high fashion because I was experimenting. And as a joke, I called them advanced selfies. And it is ridiculous, and it's funny, and it's meant to be.
It's catchy. I love it.
Yeah. And then my university, as a joke again, my course, I just gave it away. My course for advanced selfies is the Advanced Selfie University, which is ridiculous, but it's meant to be.
Yeah, I think the first, a lot of people just who haven't heard of your content would be like, is that like a Kim Kardashian class or something?
I know.
But it's not the same, because she actually does take pictures on her phone, and she's just super famous.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you can still take advanced selfies on your phone as well. That's not the problem, but it's not the duck face. Selfies with
Have you ever like seen a feed where it's just like every picture is just a
duck duck
duck goose
Ralph from the Simpsons.
So you're teaching people a lot of your techniques. Can you talk about that, your university?
So I break down everything if you don't know what to do with your hands.
I don't know.
Exactly. How to, like, why your face doesn't look good on camera, how to portray emotions, how to edit your photos, how to work with the environment around you, how to work with lighting, how to work with certain clothing pieces, like everything, just to make yourself look as good as you can. And then also, if you're doing it for work purposes, how to represent your brand properly, how to represent yourself properly.
Dang, I need that. I just you're gonna laugh at me, I just started Instagram like a month ago for the first time since like 2013 or something.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was just been off it. I didn't like it, so I kind of stopped using it, and then I became a YouTuber, and I'm like, I need it.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand in a way.
I've had a lot of people tell me like, "What? You only use Twitter? What's wrong with you?"
Wow, but that would have been nice as well. You can breathe a little bit easier.
But it's funny how many similarities I find with Instagram and YouTube, like all the algorithms and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of nerdy. You can go crazy with it.
I know. Social media is dangerous. It's a beautiful tool, but it's also super dangerous.
Well, I find like if I just force myself to treat it like work, which it is for me, like I just get on there, do my job, and then book out. Like
Yeah.
it's the 2 hours of this that can add up. You know?
I mean, I actually literally talk about this all the time. I have a little private account for my Instagram, but only so I can put photos up so I remember what's going on. It's not to share anything with other people, and maybe that's why people use social media. But I don't share stuff on there for my friends to see. Like, I don't care if they see it.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have a social media presence, I don't know if I would be on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't understand, and it's
my wife
weird.
Doesn't post at all. She just kind of casually consumes it.
I know, but it's just so strange to me that people are on there for hours, and when I post a photo, I could have 50,000 likes within a few hours, and it's like, why are you guys on there? Like, what are you doing?
Are you aware of how like unique you are?
No. No.
We were talking about this earlier before we started the podcast, but like, I don't think you're aware of the fact that you're different than most people in a good way, and it's entertaining.
I actually have no idea, so tell me more. I don't know. I actually struggle with this. I think that I'm always like, who is Sorelle? Like, I can't put a finger on it. I'm like, it must confuse people as well. Like, I don't have a specific message to tell. I'm just like, hey, I'm me, and hopefully that's okay.
What's your process when it comes to video, like, topics? Do you just kind of sit and think like,
Yeah. It takes me a while. So when I started, I was talking about Iceland. No, sorry. So when I started YouTube, I decided to try comedy. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yeah, clearly that doesn't...
Like sketch comedy kind of thing?
Well, one of my videos...
Like Liza Koshy?
No. Yes, actually, when I started for the first time, one of my false starts of YouTube about 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, it was kind of along that line. I was paying out people that were making out funny using a mango as a prop. So that was ridiculous. And then like 5 years on, when I properly started YouTube, one of my videos was me interviewing horses.
That's awesome. I love it.
So yeah, YouTube started with that, and then I went into I was living in Iceland at the time, so I started taking videos about Iceland.
How do you live in Iceland? Do you have to prove the fact that you're working there or something?
No, well, I have a Polish passport, so I can go there.
Oh, are you Polish?
Done. Polish background, yeah. First generation Australian.
Cool.
So I've got dual citizenship, and it's very nice. Yeah, it's really
worked
nice.
to your advantage.
Living in Iceland, and then I created videos about Iceland. Then I won this job called the best job on the planet out of 17,000 people, and I ended up traveling for 3 months to 12 luxurious homes around the world and making
How'd you win it?
Content around it. So I just put an entry video in on the day it was closing. My brother sent me a link, and I quickly created a 1-minute video, threw it in, and then I got to phase 2, which was doing some other, like answering articles and showing that you have marketing skills, social media skills, and so forth. So I did that round, and then round 3 was voting from your following. So I went crazy, because I was depressed at the time, and I was like, either win or lose. I didn't know what the hell. There was no plan B, so I was like, I have to. And so I just pushed really hard, and I won the competition, and then traveled the world, and I've never produced so much content, I think, in my life. So that taught me so much about...
When was that? A couple years ago?
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago.
Like more than 3 years ago?
No, a year and a half ago.
Okay.
But then, funny enough, I didn't stop that lifestyle even after I won the job, and I kept on going. Last year, I lived out of a bag, and I moved more than I did.
Like you slept in the bag?
Meaning
minimalist.
Minimalist, living just a small backpack, traveling the world full time, and we were moving like crazy. Leon joined me for the second half because he quit all his commitments, and he loves me. And we ended up traveling around, and then April last year, so not even a year ago, I started doing 2 videos a week on different topics, and what got really picked up was the taking photos of yourself and posing and so forth. But human optimization is a huge thing that I'm interested in. And
what?
Human optimization.
Tell me what that is.
So how to be a kick-ass human,
basically.
Basically, because I don't know, I didn't realize how important this was, but I grew up with this thing called personal development, which can be a toxic world, but it also pushed me to be the best version of myself. And I think it got me to where I am now, like entrepreneur. I love business. I love finances. If it made me like an all-round human, and I'm a bit fearful that some people just don't educate themselves far enough and see what they're really made up of. So this is a very interesting topic for me, which I want to explore more of. but it's not as sexy of a topic as, how to pose on Instagram.
Sure.
Which is kind of sad because I'd like to make it a sexy topic.
We can like slowly add it into your selfie talk.
Yeah. I mean, selfie talk is all about feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
So this is just like the mental
hook them in with the selfie and then give them the message.
Exactly what I'm considering, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. I just need to think long term. Like if I'm going to do this YouTube thing for a long time, you have to shift and mold to your personal interest as well.
So the Rebels, you've quickly developed a strong fan base. It's easy to tell how engaged your audience is. Can you explain a little bit more about the Rebels and why you call them that?
I love calling them the Rebels. I've been toying around.
So by the way, this is your fan base.
This is my fan base, the Rebels. Yeah.
The Jake Paulers.
What?
Well, it's like that kind of thing, right? You call your audience something.
I mean, yes. That was a bad example. I don't want them to. Definitely not the same. The Rebels, my community. Mm-hmm. I'm still toying around with that idea because I like the idea of like love rebels, because it sounds corny, but I just feel like these are the people that are willing to go against the norms, and it's so much easier to go down the norms. And it's not like rebels like break stuff and like hurt
like
people.
Punk rock.
Yeah.
Although I like punk rock.
Yeah, I like punk rock too. They're these individuals that like educate themselves. They want to help other people. They want to do good for the world. They want to break out of the mold and not do the 9-to-5 grind. They want to see what else is available and really push life to the max, and not just buy into like this comfortable life that we're told we should live.
Yeah.
That is a rebel. Like if you're going to be like, I'm not doing this normal thing that you've given me, and I want to see what else there is, even if I fail and I stumble and it's awkward and I'm awkward and I don't know what I'm doing and people laugh at me, like, screw you. I'm just going to see what it's like. Yeah. And I love that. Life's too short, man. And I feel like these people, I don't know how they're finding me, but they are legitimately like that.
The YouTube algorithm.
Yeah. They're highly educated. Imagine if it was. They're highly educated. They're so interesting. Every time I meet someone on the streets, they are people I would actually be friends with and have deep conversations with. So that to me is like the ultimate rebel.
Isn't that amazing that the internet is allowing you to do that?
I know. Because I always thought I was alone. I thought no one ever thought like me. I thought no one would ever appreciate my crazy, ridiculous nature. But people are like, I love your enthusiasm. Yeah. And that to me is just the weirdest thing. Because I was an outcast.
That's what you're made to do.
Yeah, I guess so. Thanks.
One thing that I learned, so I've been self-employed my whole life. I was actually a magician for 6 years. Whoa, when I was like 14. That's sick. Like Peter McKinnon. Yeah. I actually met Peter.
Are you Peter?
I met Peter at a magic conference like 6 years ago before we were YouTubers.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get him in that chair and tell him to his face. But
I am sure you will.
I was just having some financial struggles, and so I needed a job, and so I got a job. But the longer I was there, I was only there for 10 months before I quit. But the longer I was there, I kind of like got beaten down a little bit, and kind of was like, you know what? Like at the end of the day, if I make great work or not, I'm still gonna get paid the exact same amount of money.
Yep.
And like it's easy to kind of get wrapped up in that. So what's some inspiring words that you could say to somebody who maybe has your passion inside, but like is in a job where like, there's no judgment towards anybody, because a lot of people just need to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And sometimes that requires you to have a boring job.
Yeah, I think that is important to make a distinction. The freelance world is so difficult, and it's not for everyone. So if you are listening to this and you're like, I just can't do that, then it might not be for you. But if you feel restricted by your work, and if you feel like you're just a number and you want more, and you just want to see what else is possible, like you just have to push yourself. And instead of the going home and sitting on the couch, like that is danger zone. Be uncomfortable. Give yourself maybe timelines as well. Yeah. So instead of just like this giant project of, I want to become freelance. Okay, how about you break it down and just be like, for the next 3 months, I'm going to create something every single day.
Very practical. Yeah, I love that.
Because otherwise you get overwhelmed. And
I have a reminder on my phone, like post on Instagram, do a community post, things like that, because I just forget.
Yeah.
And that helps.
Yeah, it definitely does help. Break it down for yourself. And in the end, I don't know, it's not all going to give you happiness. So don't seek that. Yeah. There's something more. If you have a strong reason behind why you're creating as well, that's going to help you in the tough times when, like, I'm going through burnout now. It's been like 3 months, I think, of burnout. And I didn't have a why, and I couldn't find a why. I think I'm finding it now. But without that why, I was on the couch for 2 months producing like 1 video or 2 videos a month, which was just crazy. Not good enough, but I had nothing left in me because I burnt it out all of last year. But if I had a why, I think it would have pushed me through those moments. But at the same time,
can we talk more about burnout? Because I've had it. I'm nowhere near your level, but we've got 55,000 subs, and we've been going for a year, just like 2 videos a week, every week. And then this podcast, we're trying to put 1 out every week. I've got a kid and a wife, and like,
crazy.
How have you been able to manage burnout? Because I see it all the time. Like Casey Neistat had serious burnout.
PewDiePie. Dan Mace. I think he's going through it now. I don't know.
Yeah, he kind of just dropped off.
Yeah.
I mean, he got physically injured, and then he got engaged and stuff. But I see it all the time.
I think there's definitely burnout in there. I'm watching him from a distance, and I'm like, I wonder if that's what's going on. Because there's so much pressure as well at that certain level, and he popped up out of nowhere as well, which is dangerous and scary, and you don't know what to do with this giant community. Like,
here's what I did. So I was a director and freelance editor, and like I apply that to my YouTube stuff, and it was like, oh wow, where'd you come from? You're editing and doing crazy stuff. But then now everybody expects like
the biggest
crazy
and the
edits.
Best. I know, and the guy can't. He's human. Yeah. And as a director producer, you do something once every like while, not on YouTube. It's like now, again.
That's the thing is, I never had that before, and I'm sure you didn't either.
No.
That's the thing is, we have to make stuff every week. It's insane.
Twice a week for a freaking almost an entire year.
So how are you dealing with it? You say you're
still
in it?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm in it. I thought I was out of it, and I was like, yay.
Do you have help? Do you do everything by yourself?
I do everything by myself. Yeah, I just got management recently, so that was it. But they brought on more work.
They're giving you more opportunities.
Yeah, they're finding the opportunities for me, which is awesome.
Which you need because you got to pay them also. So it's like a weird cycle.
Yeah, no, it's really good because I wasn't seeking out
brands and stuff.
Brand deals because I never wanted to be at the mercy of brands. So I set up myself so I could have products that are selling from me. So if a brand came to me and they said, hey, we have this amount of money, but I didn't believe in them, I was like, go away. So I never relied on brands, but now it's an extra deal. If I'm creating a video, might as well get paid for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool. But yeah, I've been doing everything by myself, and I thought I was out of it until like this week again. And I was why can't I produce any videos? I've done like 2 this month, which is, it's the 20th or 21st now. That's horrible. I couldn't. And again, I didn't have a why. I also think I didn't let myself to actually experience it. So even though I've been on YouTube, less than 3 years, I calculated that it's been a lifetime since I was 14 of work, and having our entrepreneurial minds is like, I describe it as a car revving at full, like really intense revs without ever having a break. And so I think my brain... It could be 1 a.m.
and I just push through it because it's like I have to do it. I can't stop.
And your brain, and even if you're trying to meditate, you're still revving really high. Everything's just, your brain is in this weird state. And I almost didn't see anything. I didn't know what I was beyond work. Like my identity was someone that worked. That's it. I had no balance. Me and my boyfriend are both the same as well. We both don't know how to do balance. And last night I was like, challenge, let's not talk about work. Haha. I don't think I ever, I don't have time off. And I don't know how to have time off. And I think that's a lot of creatives. That's how we function.
It's so true.
So
do you ever turn off?
No. No.
Literally last week, it was like 1 a.m. and I was awake because I drank a bunch of coffee at like 8 o'clock at night, and it just kept me up. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for a little stroll with no headphones. And I just it was silent. Nobody was out. And I just kind of was like talking to God, talking to myself, just pondering things. And in those moments, sometimes your mind can just kind of be more creative. Like that's why when you're in the shower you have all these ideas, or when you're putting your head to the pillow you come up with ideas because it's like, oh, this is the first time in the entire day where I stopped and just
exactly.
Do you ever stop?
I try to more so. Like last night I went out and left my phone behind, and I tried I forced myself to not go out with my phone. And the only last time I had a detox from the mobile phone was last year, 6 months ago, and it happened to be the most productive time I've ever had, I think, ever. Yeah. Ever.
I bet.
And, Einstein even talks about it, that boredom has...
I wasn't expecting an Einstein quote.
But like all of these great people talk about like the silence, the moments of nothing, that's when they get the greatest ideas.
Yeah.
And no one is bored these days. No one. Because if you're bored, the first thing you do is, where's my dopamine hit? Let me grab my phone and scroll.
You're so
but
right.
you're milliseconds away from experiencing greatness, because that's where the gems are hidden. So I want to do that more. I want to get to the point where this is just a job, because I am still emotionally invested, much better than before. But I want it to be like post, reply, do some comments, do whatever else, and then switch off, and then be like, okay, now no more of that. I need to see what's beyond the boredom. I need to know who Sorelle is beyond this thing that apparently right now I'm riding this wave of being this thing called a YouTuber. Like, what else am I? What are my actual interests? What other creativity can I bring up by not being on the screen?
Yeah.
So,
which is, it's weird though, because like 3 years ago you dreamed of what you're doing now. So it's like, weird. I
know, it popped up out of nowhere. I will say that I never expected.
So yeah, can we talk about that? So if anybody's not familiar with your story, can you just break us down how you freaking blew up like crazy?
Yeah.
Because you're at like 700 and something thousand.
Yeah.
You're on your track. You're going to hit 1 million by the end of the year, I guarantee it.
Easy. Yes, I was meant to hit it by the end of last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Humility is great.
Sorry, my bad. No, but okay. No. Let me backtrack.
Humble brag.
Yeah, I'm like amazing. No, so I was meant to hit.
You are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. So are you.
All I gotta do is just give her like positive vibes. And
it's
like,
really nice.
You just smile.
I think most people just deter comments, but I think people should
accept them. As the giver of the like praise, it's weird when they're like, oh no.
I know, like just take it. People are being nice.
Oh, that makes me feel bad.
I know.
But when you take it well, it makes me feel good.
That's a huge insight there. Yeah. So I just try to live the way that I would like other people to see. That's why I take compliments every time someone gives it to me. And so I was meant to hit 1 million by the end of last year, but the algorithm broke. So all of us face that. And also my content went to crap because I burnt out. But
low key, but
no, but how it happened, and I don't know if I ever really truly expected. I knew that I was going to succeed because this is all I ever wanted now. It was 5 years before I started YouTube that I wanted to be a YouTuber, and I didn't know what it was. This platform came up, and I was looking at like Jenna Marbles, and she was just creating stuff, and it was making me laugh, and I could just
yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, and I was this weirdo that no one really seemed to understand me, and I wanted to put these little stupid videos together that made no sense and then publish them. Yeah. And I didn't even care if anyone saw. I had so much fun creating. And no one wanted to be a YouTuber. If I told people that, I tried not to. 5 years ago. I tried to tell people, like try to not tell people, but if they found out, they would literally give me dirty looks and say, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? Get a real job. What's the point of this? So I false start until about 2.5, 3 years ago. And then I had nothing to do, but the dream was still real. Just started creating these videos. And I was like, this is it. I'm just going to do it and see what happens. And so I committed to it for the first time. I said, I commit now. And that was a huge turning point because the universe was like, hello, finally. So I just got meeting amazing people that were YouTubers that helped me out as well, understanding this world and tagged me a few times and helped me grow, collaborated with me, which was awesome. I saw
you first from Chris Howe, actually.
Oh, yeah, nice. Awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. That was so fun. And I just kept on meeting all these people and growing. And then I won the competition, which didn't really do anything for my numbers.
Are we talking about the first year still here?
Yeah, first year.
So what was your growth in that first year?
So in the first 3 months, I grew to 80,000.
It's amazing.
Which is good because I did meet a girl, Melina Sophie, a German YouTuber, and we just clicked. And I was in Iceland, and she just helped me to grow to 80K. But then I also, after that, we haven't really spoken very much. Unfortunately, the friendship fizzled out. So I was losing subscribers at the same time as trying to grow. So that was a battle in itself. But then I won the best job on the planet, and I didn't really grow much from there. I think I was sitting at like 120K.
You learned a lot, I'm sure.
I learned so much. And then I started creating. In April last year, I was like, okay, 2 videos a week. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah. Did you pick days, or is it just kind of sporadic?
Wednesdays and Sundays.
Nice.
And I just kept on creating. No matter what, I produced a video. I was like so obsessed with these 2 dates up until like end of last year. I was just like 2 videos a week. And
YouTube likes that.
Yeah, it loves that. I know.
Even if it's the same time every week, that's even better.
Yeah, I know. So
we just started getting on a real schedule.
Boom. Yeah, it helps. It makes the biggest difference. So, and then finally, I had a couple of hits. One was I had a pose video.
Yeah, that's your biggest one. Almost 5 million views.
Yeah, and then another one that I did 2 years ago, that Never Good Enough, which actually
Body
blew
types.
up. I think last year as well. So I had all these viral videos going at the same time.
Shaving my head.
Yeah, shaved my head. That was before. That was a hit at the time, but then it dropped off.
10 reasons to shave your head. A follow-up video.
Yeah,
I guess.
of course.
That's amazing. I've been thinking about shaving my head.
Oh snap! Do it on YouTube.
Yeah, I should. Like Sam
views.
Sheffer. Do you know Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just met him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and then it just blew up, and next thing I knew, I was invited. The biggest thing when it hit me that this thing was working was because I was in April last year. I was still pretty broke. Like I hardly had anything. I could to buy an avocado was like a big deal. You know, buy a coffee twice a day. I'd be like, whoa, I can't do that. So that was a huge. When money kept on coming in, I was like,
are you talking an ad rev and affiliate or what?
Not really. I think selling
brand deals.
A little bit, a tiny bit of brand deals. When I got my first brand deal, it was a very low amount, but I think I almost fell off my chair.
Yeah.
I was like, what? People and this was a brand that I wanted to work with for so long.
Wow.
And I was like, they recognize me as actually someone.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Am I good?
Yeah.
And then
you are good.
Thank you.
See, all I gotta do is just say that.
And
I found your
but the biggest thing that was a giant shock to me was when I was at around 500k, and I just hit 500k, and I was invited to speak alongside
last year.
Yeah, alongside Peter McKinnon, Jesse Driftwood.
How tall
Dan
is Peter?
Mace. Peter's huge. He's really tall.
Yeah. I've always noticed he's super tall, but I don't know how tall he actually is.
Yeah, he's tall. So that was a huge shock.
Yeah.
Because I still, to this day, I don't really see myself as that talented, you know?
You're crazy.
And so to be amongst those people, I freaked out. And I think that's when I started realizing, I think I've made it now. I think I can call myself a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And that's been insane. So I have to remind myself quite often that I did it. And that's this dream I've had for such a long time, and I did it.
Yeah.
And little Sorelle's proud.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
That's right. You have a video about that.
Yeah, I just turned 30.
Yeah. So you remember when there was no YouTube, because we're the same age pretty much.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, somebody was like, oh, I saw that on YouTube. I was like, what's that? Oh, it's a website where you can watch free videos. It was like a magic trick that was revealed.
Yeah,
it was a Chris Angel trick. And I was like, how did you know about that? Anyways, when I first heard about YouTube, for some reason I never clicked, and I was in the video industry. Did you have a video filmmaking background before you were a YouTuber?
No, I was always just interested in video and photo. Okay. Always. From the youngest age, I was
it didn't click for me for some reason.
Yeah, right.
And it's only been the last, honestly, 5 years probably that it's become a real job for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Philip DeFranco's been on it forever. And
I know.
PewDiePie.
I remember when he started.
Me too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I did have a tiny bit of a video background, but that started 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, I picked up a camera.
Is that your love then? Is YouTube, and then Instagram would be second?
Both, side by side. Yeah,
so
they both give me
that.
something. Yeah, they
Did
both
you
give me
start your
different.
Insta seriously kind of around the same period of time, or?
I think I started my Instagram before I started my YouTube. Yeah, I did.
Okay. So the advanced selfie kind of thing wasn't probably a huge part of your brand.
Oh,
at
it wasn't
that
at
point.
all.
You were just
advanced
doing
selfie
it.
Was just last year.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you were just kind of doing that naturally.
Yeah.
You didn't think of it as a brand.
No.
It was more of I don't have a shooter, so I'm just gonna have to do it myself.
Exactly. Because I traveled. I think it started me being a solo traveler when I was 18. I kicked off my solo adventures, and then I remember going also when I was 16 to Japan with my school, and I took photos of everyone.
Oh, that's cool.
And I had no photos of me because no one took my photos, and I was pissed off. I was like, did I even go to Japan or not?
Yeah.
And why do you guys have photos but you didn't care to take some of me? That was so rude. And I was like,
people don't think.
Screw being just a photographer. Because if there was someone else that cared to take my photo, just be like, Sorelle, you're here too. That would have been probably I would have ended up being a photographer. just like purely a photographer, but because no one, like I wanted to know where I was in places as well.
Yeah.
So that kicked off this desire to be in front of the camera as well.
So are you a photographer or a model?
Oh, not a model.
But you're taking pictures of yourself.
Yeah, but I don't consider, I'm a photographer. Yeah, definitely. No.
It's curious though, because we interviewed Chris Burkard on this show, and he said there's 3 types of Instagrammers. There's photographers, there's models, and then there's influencers who just sell stuff.
Oh, wow. I'm all?
That's what I'm thinking.
I think I'm all.
But I don't think you're all in the kind of negative way that he might have been trying to frame it, where like some people try to act like they're only a photographer, but it's really just someone else taking pictures of them with their shirts off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can't hate on those people. They're just trying to do their best.
They're just doing their job.
But I would like to have more people on social media, and I think there is a giant shift happening where people want substance now.
Yeah.
So I'm just in the substance lane, and if I know it doesn't sound like it, Advanced Selfies.
But I think if anybody hasn't seen your profile, they really cannot judge anything that we're saying, because if you just simply go on your Instagram and just start scrolling, like these are art pictures. Like it's not selfies. Like
thank you.
But that's the thing is like that's the whole point of your whole brand as Advanced Selfie, which we kind of laugh at because like you said, you didn't really notice it as a thing, but that's what you're doing. You are just replace yourself in these pictures with any other person and it would still be like you're a photographer. You know what I mean? So
no, I appreciate that. I do try to make them artistic and bring emotion and some storyline to the photos instead of the fake. I just can't stand the fakeness. Yeah. And the like fake smiles, the one that make people feel horrible about themselves. And what for? So you could sell, and calling yourself an influencer to sell something that people don't want. Be like, hey, here, have this t-shirt that'll make you feel crap because it won't actually fit you. And it's going to destroy the environment at the same time.
It feels scammy to call yourself an influencer
how
anyways.
Dare you?
Like it's like
how can you? It's tainted the industry for so many of us that just want to do good and actually help out. And like if you're not influencing for a good reason, you should not claim to be an influencer. Yeah. Like that's dangerous. Well,
but you have 420,000 followers on Instagram. You've got almost 1 million on YouTube. You're influencing people.
Yeah. I know, but I don't want to because it's been tainted, I don't want to call myself an influencer.
Well, let's like rewind 20 years. Like, some celebrity gets sponsored by some brand. Like that was happening. If you watch like music videos from the 90s, like there's always some random like alcohol beverage that's like got this really long shot of like, or the Beats pill. Remember when that was like in everything? So, I mean, this kind of thing has been going on for years. It's just now, it has now moved over to influencers on the internet.
Yeah. Which is weird because these people are basically no one.
I know.
And they are influencing. That's the weird part. Like celebrities, they've worked and they've become musicians.
But based off of what you told me, you've worked as well. Like
that's why I don't put myself into that category. Yeah, I see myself as, I don't know, I see myself as, I like to just say I'm Sorelle because I don't know how to box myself into anything either. But I mean, yes, technically I'm an influencer. But maybe when I write my book and then I am an actress, I'll put that down.
Ooh, actress? Do you want to get into that?
That would be fun, yeah.
Yeah, you could do it.
I'm putting it out into the universe now. Some things have recently happened where I'm like, oh, that'd be interesting. Because I love being in front of the camera.
It's safe to say that you're an overall artist, like photography, filmmaker, now actress, writer. I don't know. Do you paint too or something?
No, I don't paint.
Do you make music?
I wish.
But I mean, still, that's a lot of artistic things in one. Is there any like backbone to that? Like, have you just always been attracted to just artistic things like your whole life? And
no, not even slightly.
What?
Yeah. So I was a business person first and foremost.
Shocker.
Until 5 years ago. I went meditating. And it just said, call your friend and become a photography intern. And I was like, what? Like out of nowhere. I was like, I'm a business person.
Did you go to college?
I went to...
Or university, as you said?
Yeah, university. I learned a business major in marketing. So I never thought I had a creative bone in my body. My grandma was a massive artist, and I was like, no, it skipped me. My sister's really artistic. I was like, that sucks. And now maybe as a child that forgot that she was artistic, because when I was 12 I wanted to be a musician. That was like my biggest dream. And but yeah, I think now I'm just like, whoa, I can try all these things, and I'm doing it publicly, which is the scary part because I stuff up a lot. But maybe because I tell people that I'm just trying and see what happens.
That's a good insight into you now that I know that, because I can see why you're so passionate about like sharing that message to other people, because that was you.
Yeah.
You were not aware of the fact that you could do this. You know?
Yeah, I don't think creativity has to come from zero.
I think everybody in the whole wide world is creative.
Exactly. Like, I don't understand how engineers do what they're doing. That's creative. Or how you build a giant business. That's creative. Or how you read code. Like, what?
Or chefs.
Chefs, which is cooking. Everything is art. And I'm glad that there's more of an understanding around.
Except for people who work at a tax place, the taxes people.
That's not art.
I'm
well, at art of stealing your money.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Are there things that fuel your creativity that would be interesting that like most people don't think about?
No, it's not interesting. I mean, travel is a massive thing.
Anything
obviously.
that would maybe be boring to other people that
yes,
like
be
inspires
bored.
you? Oh, just be bored?
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned meditating. When's the last time you meditated?
2 days ago.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So I try to meditate 20 minutes every day.
Okay, so you do actually stop every day.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't work.
It's not enough.
Yeah, because our brains are crazy.
You should take like a sabbatical for like a month.
Yeah,
and just go in the mountains.
I would love to. I think I would combust and be gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could survive being detached, but I do visualize that and like dream of moments of not being connected to anything. That's wild.
One of my friends always says he's like once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year, and once every 5 years. And what he means by that is once a day, take a moment and pause. Once a week, take a whole day and pause. Wow. Once a month, take 3-day weekend. Once a year, take a week off. And then every 5 years, take like a month off.
I love him.
Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
He's very healthy. Like he's a magician, travels the world, like performs for thousands of people all over the world. And that's what he's been able to do to stay sane.
I think I might have to start doing that.
He's wise. Very
Sounds wise.
Oh, he's one of my best friends.
That's awesome.
A freaking stunt artist too. He's amazing. How do you keep your energy so high? Coffee?
No.
Drugs? I'm just joking.
Lots of people always say that. What drugs you want, girl?
It's just you, isn't it?
No, it's me. And which is funny because now it's celebrated, but when I was young, people kept on telling me to slow down and relax and stop being so enthusiastic. And now people are like, we love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll give you more. But I'm 30 and I'm like, I'm a woman. I'm meant to act like a woman. How do I do that? Because I only know hyper energetic. Yeah. And it makes me happy and it makes people happy. So
totally.
Whatever. I don't care. If people don't like it, they can
I think
change channels.
God makes people like you to like make everybody else happy. So
stop giving me compliments, but don't, because I really like them.
It's like no. What are some tips that you can give somebody to be more authentic or like push through that kind of layer that they have in their mind of like, I need to act a certain way? You said that when you were younger, you felt like people told you to act a certain way. Like how can they kind of have the courage to push through? What was that for you? That kind of breaking point?
I think it's trying to almost limit your filter a little bit because we're all told to have this like epic filter on, and we all have this random first thought. Like if someone does something in front of you, you have this like, oh, imagine if I did that. And it's like you hold yourself back. You're like, that's inappropriate. Yeah. But is it really inappropriate, or would that make things funny? Like if someone's asking you a question like, hey, how you doing? And your natural response is not, hey, I'm good, thanks for asking. And it's actually like, dude, I'm so good because this just happened. Yeah. Like that's already something different. Or, man, I've just had the shittest day. Like, so it's stopping that filter for yourself and just seeing. I mean, ultimately, it's really just about your own happiness. Like, who cares if they don't like it? Yeah, exactly. If you're feeling like you can't breathe, then you should change something, because in the end, it's your life that matters, not if you were polite enough to someone else. And then I noticed that people don't really want to be interacted with like they're robots. Yeah. Like none of us like this.
Deep down.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you too. You know, they want more of the authenticity, and people connect. People so desperate for it.
Oh, so true.
So you can just trial it.
Especially in LA.
Yeah.
So much phony baloney out here. And like you can make friends with strangers all the time.
Absolutely.
I mean, the airplane is one of those like forced moments where it's like you sit next to somebody. But yeah, that's a good way to practice.
Once a day, just have a conversation with someone or just say hello and see what happens.
Oh my gosh. It brings so much joy to me to like make somebody else smile too.
Yeah, same.
It's not just like, oh, I'm going to make them smile. It also helps you as well.
Mm-hmm. And it feels good. All of us want connection. I've just noticed more and more with the social media, we've all kind of detached from what it is to be human, which is connecting with each other.
Yeah.
So if we can just bring back community and just say hello and act like humans, because we miss it. We're all so lonely. Yeah. So we can fix that right now.
So you have a great video called I'm a Creator, and there's more to it, but I'll just leave it at that because that's what you want me to call you. So the truth, the horrible truth, if you want to say, I guess, is the fact that like there's just a lot of dudes making YouTube videos in our little niche. And like you talk about this very openly, very candidly, and you talk about the comments that you've gotten in the past and the things that you've seen, but also the positive things that have happened because of your rise on YouTube and like the changes you're seeing in other men, especially. Can you talk about that and just share your perspective on being a female and being perceived as an artist, not just a female artist?
Yeah, you know it's really important to me, and I observe this constantly, and I'm still trying to make sense of it, I guess, because I am naturally going to draw a female audience because females are kind of, you know, they're looking for their tribe, especially in a niche like this one, which is very dominated by dudes. So my audience is definitely mostly females, but I've noticed that they're more tomboy females that haven't found any other place that they feel comfortable in. And it's nice because a lot of guys come to me as well, and they get to learn from a female's perspective, which will help to enhance your art as well. If you look from both a masculine and feminine energy, you can find a beautiful balance that will help your own work as well. And like I try to be like, I'm not affected, it's fine, like just everyone, I'm just a creator. I don't call myself a female creator because dudes don't call themselves guy creators. Yeah. So why should I do that? That's ridiculous. I just create things. But I still feel like there are guys that are afraid to learn from girls, and I don't know what it is. And maybe because I'm not technical. Like I'm not technical, but I give other aspects and other insights into this creativity world that you can't get from a guy. But I watch guys, for example, teaching all the time, and I'm super interested, but it's reflected in all the female numbers that most of my friends that are females that are creators, they have a mostly female audience. So that's kind of still annoying because I'm still trying to crack it. What's your demographic
actually? Is it about half?
No. So it's
more male?
Yeah, it's 75% female.
Okay.
So it's pretty big.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Mostly females.
Sarah Dietschy's isn't.
Isn't it?
No, she said awesome. It's mostly male.
That's amazing. But I mean, I also teach how to pose. And I don't think lots of guys are too interested in that. But it's still valuable. Hey, guys need to know how to pose on.
I'm gonna sign up for your class. Seriously.
Yeah, there are like I have a video as well on how to pose as a male. So like, I mean, I'm not a dude, so I'm teaching other people how to do this. And
I don't have a six pack, so like I need to look like I do. Just Photoshop my head on Sam Colder and we're good.
We're good. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm still. It kind of bums me out sometimes that guys just can't take inspiration. But then again, like I think I'm trying too hard to get for them to find inspiration instead of just again concentrating in my own lane.
Just be yourself
does bum me
and
out
let it
sometimes.
happen, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I don't have a positive or negative view on this. It's just, it is what it is right now. And
yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I literally obviously can never put myself in your shoes because I'm a male, but I can feel for you because like that's got to be kind of frustrating.
It's just a little bit frustrating. Like I want to be respected in the scene.
Yeah.
As for what I do for my art. And no, it's not like how to change, like how to clean a sensor, because I don't even know how to clean a sensor, for example. I'm just learning right now. But like,
there's plenty of males that don't know that too.
Yeah, there you go. So like that's not the most interesting thing. I don't know. I would like it if we were just like taking inspiration from each other, and there was that bridge that was, I don't know, crushed a little bit, and we could all just live in harmony. Field. I know. So it's not like rise of the woman or anything. I just want I want guys to just relax maybe a little bit more, and maybe I'm not sure. I don't know where it's going to come. The balance is going to come from. I just want to feel respected for the craft that I create.
Yeah.
And sometimes I really don't feel that, and it's like that sucks because they're like, oh, you know, that's like how to pose. It's like, no, there's a lot of other stuff that I talk about, and I have a brain, and I think a lot of people still don't realize, like, oh, you got everything handed for you, like you did, you know. When I travel full time or I make videos about traveling, people like, yeah, you know, you rich dad or something. I'm like, yo, we were broke as shit, and I made all my money, everything myself. I learned so hardcore about this business world and photography and videography, and I didn't sleep. So screw you, because this is what I did. And no, just because I have a vagina doesn't mean shit. I'm sorry if I'm not meant to swear, but that gets me fired up.
Yeah, you're totally allowed to. We'll just
like there, and I'm glad I'm a voice that is, I guess, inspiring, because I do remember when I was younger, there wasn't many females that were like nomads that traveled the world full time solo. They didn't need anyone else, that they took their own photography, videography, and they have a brain and like doing all these things, businesswoman, financially driven as well. That doesn't Google Gaga over relationships, that doesn't Google Gaga over fashion or anything. Like, I'm just a human trying to create. So it's nice that I can be that voice, but it's still frustrating when I see most of, like, say, the female population on YouTube being drawn to videos about fashion and makeup. And I'm like, there's so much more. And I wonder if they know that or if they're just following this path that they think they're meant to. I have nothing against fashion and makeup, but you can do everything. You don't have to just focus on those two things. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for saying that. But
well, I mean, you know, why is there, you know, there's more females in the education field. There's more females in the nursing field than males. And then there's more males in other fields. I think biologically there may be some interests that are more for female and male. But I think it's important for the message that you're saying to be said, because there's so many females, I'm sure, that just don't know that there's more. I mean, now I'm looking at the human optimization field, for example, and there's hardly any females. Like, I love Tim Ferriss and the kind of stuff he teaches, but there's no one that equally does that, like how to push yourself as a human to the extreme without having pink branding. You know? So I guess I'll just take that niche. Do it. Take it, grab it, make it black, and,
exactly.
run with it. Cool. Thank you for talking about that in your perspective. I think that true fans and true people who love you, like, are on your side, male or female. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're always going to have trolls in the comments. I still have them too. Like,
always.
We did a review on a $3,000 camera, and they're like, you were paid to say that. And it's like, no, it wasn't. I can show you the receipt. Like, I bought it. Like, and then I'll return it when I'm done. But so, like, people just don't know. As soon as they start typing on the keyboard, the filter is
zero
gone.
Filter, which is not the authentic.
If they met you in person, it would be totally different.
Exactly. And it's also, I always put myself on the other side if I was to write something that horrible, because sometimes the comments are really bad. I'm like, what would it take for me to say something that bad to someone else?
They must be hurting.
Oh, hurting bad.
Yeah.
And then again, if they have a good point, I will listen and I will absorb it. And if it hurts me, then I know that I've got something to work on. So I find actually going through comments sometimes a bit like, kind of like therapy, because it puts stuff in your face that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's overwhelming and it crushes you, but hey, I signed up for this.
Living Like Casey, the video that you made. Yes. How intense was that? Tell me about that.
Fun. I actually want to do it again, I think.
Okay.
Just off the camera, because it made me...
What? Really?
Yeah, it made me so productive. Waking up at 4:55, because he wakes up between 4 and 5. So you were like... So I was like, 4:55. And then having 2 hours of just silent work while everyone is sleeping. That was my favorite part. That was awesome. And then just the drive. They're like, every day you have to produce a video no matter what. Bro. So I really loved that. That was sick. Yeah. I loved it. I mean, not sustainable long term.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, is that really sustainable? I mean, look at Casey himself.
Yeah.
And you can see that, I guess, long term in a 30-year window. Like, no, it's not.
No. But, I mean, you got to do these sprints to get you. I mean, that's why he's got 10, 11 million people now.
Turning 30, you talked about getting more clarity in where you want to go. So where is that clarity at this point?
That was a temporary moment in my video. Yeah, I'm constantly... I think the blow up of the YouTube thing kind of put a bit of conflict in my brain, because I'm kind of giving people what they expecting of me instead of what I want to do. So I'm have to pull that back and be like, okay, so this could ruin my business by following something that is completely unrelated. Maybe is this what I'm willing to do? And it's like, I have to, man. Like, I have to put myself first. So I think the clarity is coming now in more like human optimization stuff, rather than just talking about how to pose.
So are you telling me that you're making decisions based off of what you want and not what the algorithm would want?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I know, crazy, right?
Crazy,
Which
man.
can be hard because this is my entire business, and that's shifting a lot. But
just make a new channel.
I know. No.
That's what any YouTube person would tell you.
I know. No. I've done a lot with this channel, and I think it'll continue growing, and people will react really well. Yeah, so it's my own fear.
Right.
Exactly. But then
do it.
Yeah, it's just like I want to build myself as a person, as a brand, not how to pose. Because guess what? I'm more than that.
Imposter syndrome. How has this changed your creativity, if at all?
I think all of us have it, really. Thinking that it's not good enough and that people are going to find out if we're a fraud. Yeah,
all
you
the
know?
time.
It's like,
even sitting here with you right now, I'm like, gosh, I don't know if I'm even doing any good here.
Yeah, you are. You're doing an excellent job. But I think we all have that.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Especially creatives, we always think that we suck.
Yeah.
Like always. But people are like, wow, that's really nice. And you're like, wait.
Me? Are you talking to me?
So I
think because growing up I got bad grades and like
right.
I always created stuff, and that was how I got affirmation from my teachers, my parents.
Yeah.
But then it was like, yeah, but you still need to go to college and like get good grades. It's like, well, why?
Yeah.
Why does this chemistry like matter at all?
Yeah. I don't
know.
really know where it comes from, but it pushes us to do more. So I am grateful for it, that I always think that I suck, because it just makes me want to do better.
What is I'm speaking as Dave now, as a YouTuber, like what's your process look like when you're making a video? Start to finish. I'll have an idea, and it could pop up into a very random thought, and then I'm like, I want to expand on that. So I just sit down and I write out a script. Like word for word or bullet points?
Yeah, sometimes I just like let it flow and write out little paragraphs, knowing that when I'm sitting in front of the camera recording, that I'm not going to say it word for word, but for me, just to make sure that I get everything down on paper so I can reference it later. So I'll write out. Do you
have your phone out while you're shooting?
Yeah.
And you reference it?
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. I do tiny paragraphs at a time. Okay. When I'm recording, and
that's where the hard cuts are.
Exactly. Yeah. And then changing location, which Chris Howe taught me how to do. Like, just change location quite often to keep it visually interesting. Yeah. So I love doing that, and so I write out a script, and then I just try to move around and keep it interesting, engaging, and that's it.
What do you edit in? Premiere or Final Cut?
Final Cut.
Me too.
Do you?
Yeah, my editor over here, Connor, he's full-time Final Cut. So
what?
It's so fast. It's way better than Premiere.
Dude, I haven't met anyone like you, so I'm always embarrassed.
No.
Because most people are like, oh, what? You're such a child. Like,
it's not
grow
true.
Up.
No, you're smart is what you are.
Wow, because it is
it's
super
3 times
simple.
faster. You can use, like, this is a base model 13-inch. Yeah. I paid $1,000 for this MacBook Pro, like, 2 years ago. I got it used. And we edit everything in 4K, upload in 4K.
And it works?
And it works fine, because it's Final Cut, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I like Final Cut a lot, but everyone keeps saying how crap it is. So I was like, maybe I should
it's
move.
Not crap. Here's the problem is, like, a lot of the old school video guys that maybe started, like, have been doing freelance for the last 8 years or whatever. Like, as soon as Final Cut 10 came out, it was so radically different from anything they've ever seen. A lot of people loved the old Final Cut, Final Cut 7. And then this was so, like, the magnetic timeline and the way that things work is so weird. Also, like, the program was dumbed down quite a bit. And so people bought it, they used it, they hated it, got a refund, switched to Premiere, and kind of never went back. Right. But over the last several years, they've continued to add more to it. Yeah. And I think now, if this version of it came out back then, like, nobody would say anything.
Yeah, it's so easy to use.
But so many people still have it in their head that, oh, Final Cut's not pro. But it's like, actually my
videos are great, so thanks.
Yeah, like, I think I'm a gear reviewer, so, like, I do talk about gear. And I kind of hate it when people are like, "Oh, you need to talk about story because that's all that matters." Like, well, my story is gear. So, like, it's Top Gear. Like, if you watch Top Gear, the story is cars. So that's why I talk about gear because that's the topic of my videos. Yeah. So, anyways, but you know, at the end of the day, it does not matter what you use to edit because the videos are cut and they're uploaded. They're uploaded.
So it's fine. And you can't tell the difference in the end. The only difference is like the visual effects, like that kind of stuff you don't do, but I don't.
I love the way if you learn Final Cut, like I think it's so much faster to edit with. And plus Premiere crashes all the time.
I've heard that, and it gets rid of all your files because my boyfriend uses that one.
It also takes 3 times longer to export.
Yeah, right. That would not be good for me because I'm always last minute uploader.
What camera? Me too. Yeah. Bum. What camera do you shoot on?
Sony A7S II. Okay. 16 to 35 most of the time.
So you're waiting for that A7S III to come.
That would be nice.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
Have you thought about switching to the A7 III though?
I mean.
Have you tried it?
No,
for
I haven't.
Video? You
I
should.
Haven't. Like, honestly.
You're going to be spoiled. The color's better.
Yeah, the color's the only thing that kind of
you figured it out though. The color looks good.
It's okay. I still don't feel it's very punchy, so that's the one place where I'm trying to improve. And I don't think it really matters because I came from a Nikon, and the Nikon was the video was so bad. Yeah. And I'm sure it's updated now and it's better on some models. But at the time,
the new Nikons are great.
Yeah, the new Nikons are great. But the one that I had, it was like craptastic. So I went over to the Sony and I was like, I'm fine. It doesn't really matter. Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I shoot at daytime, so I'm just happy if it's simple to use. I'm happy with it, and it's not heavy.
The autofocus?
Autofocus is actually pretty
on the
good.
A7S too.
Yeah,
it's got contrast detect. It goes all over the place. You don't have any problems?
I don't have problems.
People are so dumb because they talk about how that camera's autofocus is terrible.
No,
I need to do some tests.
I like it.
I think people get too picky about that stuff.
I mean, you can't have it all, I guess, on the camera because they make sure that you don't have it all. Yeah. They always keep something back in one camera model, so you have to buy the other one. But in the end, honestly, for me, like if it's sort of doing the job, and it's like 90%, that's probably good enough. Yeah. Because you could keep reaching for the best camera, but if you don't have that selling point, for me, it's like now the advanced selfies, that's unique, that's marketing, and my personality. If I didn't have those things in place, it don't matter how good my gear is.
Well, if you got an A7 III, you'd have 3 hours of battery life. Your color science would be better.
Okay, I'm autofocus
switch right now. So I think
fine, I'll switch.
I think your daily life would be better with the new one.
But
you can afford it. Come on, just sell it and do it.
Fine, I probably will. But I'm happy with it.
But no, your point that you're making is so true though.
Yeah, 100%. I think people are too focused sometimes on the gear instead of,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, are you actually good enough to do this thing?
Yes.
Do you have something that is going to make you stand out?
Totally.
Or are you copying everyone else, you know?
The camera, like a lot of people think like, I want to be a YouTuber, so I'm going to buy a camera first.
No.
And then I'll become a YouTuber. Or then you get the camera, it's like, okay, I need to build a set.
Yeah.
Okay, now I need to buy now I need to buy a computer. You know, like all that stuff.
I have done that. I wanted to build a set, and then luckily I couldn't. And moving around from location to location became my thing now. And people are like, wow, I love that new house that you're in, and it keeps switching. So the thing that you think is a disaster, that's bad. And maybe if you're shooting on a different camera that no one's shooting on, or you have, I don't know, something different, like that could be your advantage.
That's what I always. Oh man, we're kind of kindred spirits. Because like I would shoot on a camera called the Digital Bolex when I would do like director projects and stuff. Nice. You ever heard of it? It's like nobody thinks it's cool, and I think it looks so pretty.
Yeah, nice.
And like I would show up on set with it, and they'd be like, "What the heck? Like, we're shooting on a red." It's like, no, we're shooting on this because like reds are boring.
Yeah, cool.
Although they're not, they're pretty fun.
I've also never.
If I had 30 grand, I would.
Yeah, exactly.
But what are some of your favorite people that you've worked with over the last 2 years, 3 years? You've mentioned a few.
Yes, I love Chris and Lizzie.
Yes, we love them too.
So much. They're amazing humans. I'm going to miss someone and then I'm going to get in trouble. Louis Raya, amazing. I love Aaron Kraskell. He's just on Instagram. He is so funny and his heart is made of gold. I love him. I am going to forget someone. And then I don't know who else.
Are there any people that you're real inspired by that you haven't met yet, or people that even that are outside of our field that you're just heavily inspired by? Artists? Musicians?
Yes.
You probably love a lot of musicians, right? Like,
I do love
you're a musical
music.
person.
Yeah, I love musicians. The biggest one that I will be friends with is Jessie J.
Nice.
She's going to be my friend. Jim Carrey is a big inspiration.
Oh my gosh, I love
for his mind and just his personality. He's like someone that I look up to because he's kind of weird as me. So
I love how he is now. It's like everybody's so confused. Like, and who is this guy?
I love it. It's so interesting.
Got the beard. He's like super eccentric.
Yeah.
He wears like baggy cargo pants on the red carpet.
Exactly.
Doesn't care anymore.
I know.
Do you think that's a product of like just being so unbelievably famous for a long time?
Yes.
And just becoming like the opposite?
Yes.
Like Shia LaBeouf did that.
I kind of see, and I know I have pretty much no ground to stand on this, but I have experienced something very weird in myself as well when people started recognizing me, and then my bank account grew, and I was getting all these like I was like famous, like mini famous, but famous, and I was like, this feels highly uncomfortable. And it also, what Russell Brand said, it doesn't make you happier. No. Like none of this stuff actually, like none of it makes you happier. And now I got a tiny taste of it, and I have to stop myself from like sabotaging my career, because I still want to keep growing and I don't want it to stop.
Yeah.
And I want to do amazing big things and help the world in some way. But it's very strange, and people, when they like say they love you, or they I don't know, they see you on the street and they panic a little bit. It's like, what's happening? Like, I'm just me. And imagine that on a grand scale. That's scary.
Yeah. I really believe that we're all wired to like worship something, and I believe in God, and like people want to latch on to other people to be God, and people can't be God. Yeah. Like, it's just impossible.
I believe that each of us is God. I believe that we're all experiencing that we're the universe.
The God complex.
No, I believe that. Yeah, we're the universe experiencing itself. So that's what I.
So you think like instead of somebody like being fanboy or fangirl over somebody else, they should
be fangirl about themselves. How insane they are. Exactly. Like as a human, like you can walk. If you can't, then you can sit and push yourself. I don't know. There's always something to be grateful for. Your heart beats without you
if you're
thinking
alive,
about it.
It's a blessing.
I know. And I mean, the human experience really is about feeling like the raindrops on your skin, or eating something, kissing your loved one, like all these very simple things, and you get to experience it. And I do understand the worship part, because like I remember when I was young, I also wanted to have like people that I looked up to, like Spice Girls were awesome.
Oh, heck yeah.
I love to look up to them. Jim Carrey was one of them as well. But you want to have someone that you're like, hey, I'm like that. You understand. You get that. So that's interesting. But also, it's weird when people, I don't know, praise someone and they don't realize that they are just humans, and they poop as well, you know?
Exactly.
They're just human beings.
And if somebody is mental enough to think that they are like this high and mighty person, like they're gonna really start to see failures in their personal life, and like it can be really dangerous.
Yeah. So just admire yourself. Love people, as a human.
Treat people with care, and bring joy to people.
Yeah. And also sometimes tough love is a thing, because I think that's not talked about a little bit right now.
Everybody wants a trophy.
Be kind, be nice. And it's like, no, sometimes you have to be really mean to someone for them to stop pushing you around, or for them to snap out of their own victimhood disaster mode. So you have to like, snap them out of that too. So tough love is a thing.
What do you mean by that?
You don't get it?
Well, like, give me an example.
So like if someone is stepping all over you, and you're like, be nice, don't be mean, be compassionate. It's like, like, sure, I can be compassionate. They are being a jerk to me and they're pushing me. It's like, no, straight up. I'm not going to be kind to you about it. Just no, don't do that. These are my boundaries. You're pushing them. Yep. And then the same thing, if they're like, my life sucks and everything's bad. Sure, you can be kind and compassionate and be like, it was their fault. It's fine. Just like relax. It's fine. Poor you. Or be like, okay, you've had your moment. Of course you can be sad, but now it's time to do something about this. Like, get off your ass. Let's go and hang out at the park or meet our friends. That's tough love too. Yeah. Or if a kid's about to go into a fire and it's like, oh, there's a fire. Oh, yes, honey, just gently. Like, no, don't burn yourself, because I love you. So love can come from many different angles. It doesn't have to be like kind and delicate. Like sometimes you have to have tough love.
So true. And I think a lot of parents these days are a little too
I had tough love. It made me great.
That's awesome.
So
I think that's the main thing though, is like not everybody had that. So, you know, it's hard for people to even accept tough love because they're not used to it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, you should put your children under the most intense stress in any way, emotionally, physically, whatever. That's not what I'm saying. But like whatever you've been dealt with, like you should try to see the lessons out of it.
Totally.
Because it's happened. You might as well just roll with it and see what's good about it instead of being like, my life sucks because of that.
What are just some little nuggets that we could give to somebody who is starting out, who is just like you 4 years ago? And like, what are some things that you've learned over these last couple of years that you would want to tell yourself or somebody like you who wants to essentially do what you're doing? Instagram, YouTube, just creating for a living, honestly.
Creating for a living. It's a long road. It ain't easy. I think everyone always, you know, I think we talk about that. It's not easy in the slightest, and you have to learn a lot. So instead of being and scrolling on your phone, pick up that camera and create something every day, and then research how to make money online. Like, that's a huge thing. Sure, you can be an artist, but why be a broke artist when you're living in the best age ever to make a lot of money from your art?
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy nowadays to make money from your art. So how do you do that?
No matter where you live too.
No matter where you live. Exactly. So yeah, break down what does it take you to live comfortably right now, and then figure out different ways of how you can make that money so you can override your current income so you can still live comfortably with your art. But that takes down literally education, breakdown, and trial and error. Gosh, man, people are afraid of failing and being embarrassed.
Sometimes
my first videos were pretty bad. My first photos were real bad. So you gotta start somewhere, and you gotta be okay for people to laugh at you at first, but you have to believe in yourself that you're going to get past that, and that comes through constant trial, error, and education.
Sometimes when I hit upload, I'm like, oh, man, this could be so much better, but it's just like, you gotta just put it out there.
Do it, man.
Otherwise you could spend months on one video. Any last things that you'd like to leave for your audience that's listening to this, or some new followers of you potentially? Anything you'd like to say to them?
I want to say thank you for allowing me to have a voice and speak my mind. And just like everyone else out there, I'm trying to figure out what life is. So if I've said something weird that you're like, what the hell is happening? Thank you for being open to just knowing that I'm a human and learning how to live this life the best of my ability. And obviously no offense was intended behind that. And otherwise, thank you for being interested, I guess, to listen and expand your mind and learn some more, because education is so freaking important. And thank you for taking inspiration from different sources and trying to make yourself a better human, because that's the most important thing you can do for yourself, I think.
You're welcome. I'm speaking for everybody else. It was amazing talking to you, Sorelle, and I'm happy to now know you, because it was like an amazing conversation.
That was fun. I loved it. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Wasn't Sorelle amazing? Her energy and excitement is truly contagious, and I hope that you walked away with a lot of great nuggets from our interview. If you watched this entire video and you haven't checked out Sorelle's work, then we've linked both her Instagram and YouTube channels below in the description. I urge you to follow her. She's really amazing if you haven't figured that out already. We post new videos every single Tuesday, so make sure to hit the subscribe button and enable bell notifications. That way you know when the Golden Hour podcast goes live every week. Once again, I'm Dave Mays. This is the Golden Hour podcast. See you next week.